Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. My name is Atul and today we are going to look into Jupyter Notebook, and that include the introduction of Jupyter Notebook, how to set up it, and a brief walkthrough on how to use it. So if we talk about the introduction to the Jupyter Notebook, then Jupyter Notebook is a notebook authoring application which was built or developed under the project Jupyter umbrella. It was built on the power of the computational notebook format. Jupyter Notebook offers fast, interactive new ways to prototype and explain your code and visualize your data, as well as it allows you to share your ideas with others. Jupyter Notebook extends the console-based approach to interactive computing in a qualitative new direction by providing a web-based application suitable for capturing the whole computation process, such as developing, documenting, and executing code, as well as communicating the result to the user. The Jupyter Notebook combines two components. The first one is a web application, which you are seeing on your screen right now. This is the web application. And the second one is the computational notebook document, which I'll open and show you. For example, if I click this, then you will see we have a notebook document that has opened. So let's talk about the web application. So it's a browser-based editing program for interactive authoring of computational notebooks, which provide a fast interactive environment for prototyping and explaining code, exploring and visualizing data, as well as sharing ideas with others. Now, if we talk about the computational notebook document, it is a shareable document that combines computer code, plain language description, data-rich visualization like 3D models, chart, mathematics, graph, and figures, as well as the interactive controls. Now, if we talk about the main feature of this web application, then it has a couple of features such as in-browsing editing for code with automatic syntax highlighting, indentation, and tab completion, as well as the introspection of the code. It has the ability to execute code from the browser with the result of the computational attached to the code which has generated them. It displays the result of computational using rich media representations such as HTML, PNG, etc. It has in-browser editing for rich text using the markdown markup language, which can provide commentary for the code, and it is not limited to the plain text. It has the ability to easily include mathematical notion within the markdown cell using LaTeX and rendered natively to MathJax. Now, if we talk about the installation, that how you can install Jupyter, then we can simply go to jupyter.org and then you can download it from here. If you scroll down, then you will see that you have Jupyter Notebook, the classic notebook interface, and you can install the notebook from here. There is another way also to use Jupyter Notebook is to install the Anaconda from this link, which is anaconda.com/download. So Anaconda is a software that has Python as well as a couple of Python libraries. It has its own virtual environment and repository which can be used along with the Python command. Now, if you have downloaded the Jupyter Notebook, then you can simply come to your start menu and you can write Jupyter, and you will see that you have a Jupyter Notebook, and you can click on it, then it will open. So once it will open, then you will see that you have a console that has opened like this, and then Jupyter Notebook will generally open with this interface where you have this address localhost and 4x8/tree/python. But if you have opened the Anaconda, then you have separate sections such as Spider, Jupyter Notebook R, and a bunch of other stuff. You can click on Jupyter and Jupyter will open. Now, if we talk about the Jupyter Notebook interface, then the Jupyter Notebook interface is a web-based application for authoring the documents that combine live code with narrative, text, equations, and visualization. So let's start the notebook server. You can start a notebook server from the command line using the command such as Jupyter Notebook or Anaconda. Then you can go to start menu and type Jupyter, as I have told you earlier, right? You can go to start menu and type Jupyter and click on it and it will start. Then it will print some information about the notebook server in your console and open a web browser to the URL of the web application. The landing page of the Jupyter Notebook, which is this one, or if I go back, then this is the landing page. And this landing page of Jupyter Notebook web application is the dashboard. This dashboard page shows the notebook currently available in the notebook directory. So if I go to my this folder, which is Python for data science, then you will see that you have two notebooks over here. We can create new notebooks from this dashboard with the new notebook button, which is over here. You can come over here and click on new. Then you can click on this Python 3 kernel and you will have a new notebook which is opened. So this is a new notebook with the name untitled. Or if you want to open an existing notebook, then you can come back over here and you can click on any of the existing notebook and that notebook will open. Now, one of the major things that you need to note is that the new notebook is created within the same directory and will open in the new browser tab. It will also be reflected as a new entry in the notebook list of the dashboard. So right now we have created this untitled one and you can see that this is the dashboard where you have this new untitled.ipynb. This is a new notebook which we have and it is currently opened over here. So you can see the list of notebooks on your dashboard. Now if we talk about the opening notebooks, then you have to note that an open notebook has exactly one interactive session connected to a kernel. So if we talk about which kernel this Jupyter Notebook or the untitled name Jupyter Notebook is running on, then you can come over here and see that the kernel is this one. And this notebook will execute code and send by the user and communicate back the result. This kernel will remain active even if the web browser window is closed, and reopening this same notebook from the dashboard will reconnect the web application to the same kernel. Now let's talk about the notebook user interface. So first of all, you will see over here that this is the notebook name. The name displayed at the top of the page next to the Jupyter logo reflects the name of the file. Clicking on the notebook name over here brings up a dialog which allows you to rename it. So for example, if I want to rename it to Untitled 0, then I can rename it to Untitled 0. So renaming a notebook from Untitled to Untitled 0 in the browser is quite easy, and once you have completed the renaming, then you can click on this rename button and you will see that your file name has changed over here. And if you go back to your dashboard, you will see that the list of file contain Untitled 0, which you just have changed. Now coming back to our notebook, the next thing that we have over here is the menu bar. So this is a menu bar. This menu bar represents different options that may be used to manipulate the way the notebook functions. Now if we talk about the toolbar, you have the toolbar over here. This is the toolbar. So the toolbar gives you a quick way to perform the most used operation within a notebook by clicking on an icon. And this one, which you're seeing right now, this is a code cell. Now if we talk about the structure of this notebook document, then this notebook consists of a sequence of cells. A cell is a multi-line text input field and its content can be executed by using the shift enter or by clicking either the run button in the menu bar. So for example, if I write print here and let's say my name, and now if I want to run this cell, then I can come over here and either I can press shift enter and you will see that this code has been executed, or the another way to run this is that you edit something in this cell and then come over here in toolbar and press this run button. You will see that your code has been executed. So this execution behavior of a cell is determined by the cell type. There are three types of cell: code cell, markdown cell and raw cell, which you can see from here. So right now in this cell 2 is a code type of cell. If you click on this drop down, you will see that you have four types over here: code, markdown, raw NB convert and heading. But mainly there are three types of cells. The first one is code cell, then markdown cell and raw cell. Every cell starts off being a code cell. When you start a Jupyter notebook, then you will see that every cell is a code cell by default. But its type can be changed using this drop down on the toolbar. Now let's talk about this code cell a little more in detail. So a code cell allows you to edit and write new code with full syntax highlighting and tab completion. The programming language you use depends on the kernel which you have over here, and the default kernel is IPython, which you can see over here, runs on the Python code. When a code cell is executed, code that it contains is sent to the kernel associated with the notebook. The results that are returned from this computation are then displayed in the notebook as a cell output, which is over here. The output is not limited to text, with many other possible forms of output are also possible, including the matplotlib figures as well as the HTML tables. Now the second type of cell that we are going to discuss is the markdown cell. So you can see over here we have the second option, which is markdown. So you can document the computational process in a literate way, alternating descriptive text with code using rich text. In IPython, this is accomplished by marking up the text with the markdown language. The corresponding cells are called markdown cell. So if I want to convert this cell as a markdown cell, then I can come over here and click on this drop down and click on markdown, and you will see that this cell will be marked down. So let me just write something over here. Example of markdown, and if I press shift enter, then you will see that this cell is quite different than this cell. So when a markdown cell is executed, the markdown code is converted into the corresponding formatted rich text. Markdown allows HTML code for formatting. Within the markdown cell, you can also include mathematics in a straightforward way using the standard LaTeX notion. When a markdown cell is executed, the LaTeX portion are automatically rendered into the HTML output as equations with high quality typography. Now one of the interesting thing over here is that suppose you are working on something and you need to input a link from which you have gathered the data or something like that. So what you can do is that you can simply write, for example, I'm writing over here google.com, right? And I want to change it into the markdown so that people can click on it and go to that particular link. So if I just change it to markdown and if I press shift enter, then you will see that this markdown cell can redirect us or a user to a website or to the link from where you have extracted your data. Now one of the interesting thing that I want to tell you about the Jupyter Notebook is that there are two modes of any notebook editor. The first one is the edit mode and the second one is the command mode. So when you click on a particular cell, you will see that you have a pencil button over here. So when a cell is in edit mode, the cell mode indicator will change to reflect the cell state. This state is indicated by this small pencil icon on the top right of the interface. So whenever you are in the edit mode, you will see that you have a pencil icon, but whenever you are in the command mode or in a read mode, you will see that the pencil has been disappeared. So let's talk about a basic workflow of this notebook. So the normal workflow in a notebook is quite similar to the standard IPython session, with the difference that you can edit cell in place multiple times until you obtain the desired result. So I can run this particular cell multiple times if I want to run it, and you will see that you have a number over here which says that how many times this cell has already executed or what is the sequence of the cell that has been executed over here. So if I take this particular thing and copy it over here, and then if I start executing it, then you will see that you have a sequence of numbers over here. So you can edit cells in place multiple times until unless you obtain a certain result or the desired result, rather than having to rerun the separate script in your IPython. Typically, we will work on a computational program or problem in pieces, organizing the related ideas into cells and move forward once the previous part worked correctly. This is much more convenient for interactive exploration than breaking up a computation into script that must be executed together as was previously necessary, especially if parts of them take a long time to run. So now if we talk about a little bit of more of the options that we have over here, then you can see the first option that we have over here in our Jupyter Notebook is file. So if you click on this file, you will see that you have a n number of options over here. The first option is new notebook. So if you go to this new notebook and if you click on it, Python 3, then it will allow you to create a new notebook within the same directory, which is over here. So if you see the name, you have untitled and you have untitled over here, which is just has created a second ago. Now the second thing that we have within this file is open. If you want to open an existing code or a notebook, then you can click over here and open that. The third option that we have over here is a make a copy. If you want to create a copy of this particular notebook, then you can select this option. Now if you want to save this notebook, then you can click on save as and change the name. So this part is the folder location in which, or you can say this is the directory in which this particular notebook is saved. So you can rename it. For example, let's save it as test1, and you will see in your dashboard you have a test1. Now the next option that we have is rename. If you want to rename this, then you can click on file and click on rename. Then you can rename this and click on rename. Then the next option that we have is save and checkpoint. So if you click on this save and checkpoint, you will see that you have a checkpoint created over here. Now suppose after a couple of hours of coding you want to just revert back to your checkpoint, then you can come over here in the file section and click on this revert to checkpoint of this particular time. Now suppose you need to take a printout of this particular notebook page, then what you can do is that you can come to file, click on print preview, and you can see how it will look if you want to print this document. The another option in file is this close and halt. So this option will basically halt the operation, or you can say that this option will stop the kernel and close this document. So if I click on close and halt, you will see that the document has been closed, right? Let me open that document again. Now after this file we have this edit option, and you can see that you have multiple options over here that you can play around with a particular cell. So if you want to cut cell, then you have X as a shortcut. If you want to copy cell, which is C. If you want to paste a cell basically above a certain cell, then you can copy a particular cell and use this option. So you have n number of options over here. You can play around it and see what all options that we have in edit. So the next option that we have over here is view. So you can basically come around and play around with these options that we have over here in view. The next option is insert. Now if you want to insert a particular cell above this cell number 9, then you can simply press A, or what you can do is that you can select this cell and then come to insert and click on this cell insert above, and a cell will be inserted. Similarly, the next option that we have within insert is insert cell below. Either you can simply press B, or you can click on this insert cell below and a cell will be inserted below this particular cell. The next option that we have over here is kernel. If you click on kernel, you have multiple options. Interrupt, if you want to interrupt the kernel when you are running a particular code and it has been run already for like 2 or 3 hours and you want to change that code, you do not want to execute that code completely, then you can interrupt the kernel, then edit your code and again run it. The next option is restart. If you want to restart the kernel, you can click on this restart and the kernel will get restarted. The next option is that restart and clear output. So right now you have outputs over here, right? Now you do not want this output to be appearing, then what you can do is that you can come to kernel, click on restart and clear output. It will give you an option where it says that do you want to restart the current kernel and clear all output. All variables and output will be lost. So when you restart a kernel, all the data that is present in the memory at the runtime will be lost. If you want to go ahead, you can click on restart and clear all output, and you will see that all the output that is over here, which was previously over here, will be removed and kernel has been restarted. The next option that we have is restart and run all. So if you click this, then the kernel will get restarted and the notebook, this entire notebook, will run from top to bottom. The next option is that reconnect. So most of the time when we are running our code on Jupyter Notebook, sometimes due to internet issue or sometimes due to some other issues, you will see that your kernel got disconnected, and if you want to reconnect it, then you can click on reconnect. Then this shutdown is a self-explanatory thing which says basically if you want to shut down the kernel, you can click on it. Most important thing is that if you have multiple kernels, then you can change kernel from here using this option change kernel. So currently I have only one kernel, which is Python 3. So I cannot change, or I cannot show you how to change multiple kernels over here. But if you have multiple kernels, you can come to this option change kernel and select the kernels from here. Now another important thing within this Jupyter Notebook is this help section. If you click on this help section, you have a lot of references where you can go and learn a lot about Python, as well as some of the libraries. Then you have this notebook help. If you click on this, it will provide you an help over here. Then the interesting thing is this keyboard shortcut. If you click on this keyboard shortcut, you will see all the commands that you can use while you are editing or running your code. So now if we talk about the browser compatibility of this Jupyter Notebook, then this Jupyter Notebook aims to support the latest version of 3 browsers right now, that is Chrome, Safari and Firefox. The up-to-date version of Opera Edge may also work. So this is a brief information, or you can say introduction to the Jupyter Notebook. In our next video, we'll start practicing codes and we'll be using Jupyter Notebook. So I would highly recommend you to download the Jupyter Notebook either from this link, which is jupyter.org, or you can go to this anaconda.com/download and you can download the Anaconda, and there you will have Jupyter Notebook. So happy learning and see you in the next video.